Hello, welcome to the NU 636 Advanced Pharmacology. This is for the week 7 synchronous session. My name is Dr. Christy Burks. We're going to go ahead and get started. On the agenda this week, we have the announcements, the unit objectives. We're going to look at the readings, videos, presentations, and the assignments. All right, beginning with the announcements, we have the welcome to week 7 announcement, which just goes over the same things that the previous welcome to the week announcements have: the course objectives, the assigned readings, videos, presentations, and the assignments. And then, of course, a reminder to reach out to me if you have questions or concerns. On the synchronous session schedule and links announcement, you will find the content session recorded link is already located there. Later on, I will post the recorded link for the synchronous session. There are some optional journal articles and resources for you to look at if you would like. And then, of course, the link for today's session with the date and time of our synchronous session today. It does include the week 8 final week of the term. So there is no synchronous session or content session this week on week 8 because there's no new content. It's our last week. It does begin on Monday and ends on Tuesday by 11:59 a.m. And that's before noon at Central Standard Time. So we'll talk about that just a little bit more coming up, okay? Finally, you will get a welcome to week 8 announcement as well. And I think that will go out either Saturday or Sunday of this coming up weekend. For the Unit 7 objectives, they are similar to the week 6 objectives, so I'm not going to read over them, but please make sure you look at them and ensure that we meet those objectives for the content this week. On the content, we are looking at chapters 6 and 28, which goes over principles of antimicrobial therapy, and we look at UTIs or urinary tract infections. We're going to look at chapters 29 and 30, which go over prosthetic disorders and erectile dysfunctions, as well as overactive bladder. Finally, chapter 31, which looks at sexually transmitted infections. You do have 3 video presentations to look at this week. It goes over antibiotic classes made easy, as well as the pharmacology of urinary bladder and drugs for benign prostate hyperplasia or BPH. On the past assignments for week 7, I should have everything graded my goal is by Friday. So please keep an eye out for that information in the grade book, and please make sure you're reviewing your instructor feedback either in the rubric comments, assignment comments, or within, if it's the paper submitted, then sometimes I will put the comments within the submission. All right, for week 7 assignments, we do have a busy week this week. Please don't forget to do the MAT attestation. And then we also are going to look at our assignment for medications for substance and opioid use disorders, which we've been talking about this entire term. Look at our discussion that we have due for this week, and then our shadow health focused exam, and of course the quiz. So starting first with that, medications for substance and opioid use disorders. Again, you're going to enter, and you must enter through the course. So you're going to go to the Read Me First module, click on this MSUD, Medications for Substance Use and Opioid Disorder link, and that will lead you to this link where you can get registered for the website and complete the assignment. So you should have already by now registered, because it does take it can take up to 24 to 48 hours to get the link once you've registered. Please know that you should not be paying any type of fee or cost when you're registering. So there's no cost to it at all. Once you get registered, it will send you a link through your email, and you'll enter the link or the website through this link and get logged in. You'll complete the assignment, MSUD training, medications for substance and opioid use disorders. This is the assignment that I did talk about will take about 8.5 to 9 hours. So that's why I wanted you to complete it, or at least begin it well before week 7 because it is a busy week. You have to complete each module before going on or before it unlocks the next module. There are some reflections that you have to complete in between, so please make sure that you're doing that. After that final step, you will receive a completion certificate, and that is something that you need to hang on to. That certificate is what is required to be uploaded to the assignment Dropbox in week 7. Reminder that this is not worth any points. However, it must be completed in order to be successful in the course. You will also need to hang on to the certificate, either print it out or keep it on your computer as a PDF, because you will have to use it further on in your program. So if you are in the nurse practitioner program, you will use it after your licensure to submit. And then if you're in other programs, you will be required to utilize that in when completing other continuing education. If you wanted the handouts for each module, they are offered here. So you have the overview little tab and you have the handout tab. If you click on this handout tab, that will lead you to the available PDF, I believe, PowerPoints or videos or PowerPoints that are listed there for each module. Once you get that certificate, go back to week 7 and you can upload that certificate into the week 7 Dropbox. Okay. All right. Next, we have the discussion. And for the discussion this week, your instructions for the initial post and for the peer posts remain the same. But we are looking at a 52-year-old male patient who is at the clinic for concerns about his sexual health. You are provided some details with the assessment and some vital signs, and then you are asked to develop a discussion post for that initial post that responds to the following prompts. And you're going to provide your diagnosis, discuss how you would manage the patient's current presentation, and provide a rationale supported by those scholarly references with those correlating in-text citations for your treatment plan. Next, you're going to include your specific prescriptions for that patient, which must include that medication name, dose, route, and frequency, as well as any special instructions that would apply as if you were writing this prescription. Next, you're going to describe the patient education that you would provide in relation to your treatment plan. And then finally, provide your plan for the follow-up and or if there is a referral indicated. That initial post is due by Wednesday, 11:59 Central Standard Time. So please make sure you have that done by then. On the peer post, it is the same, again, instructions that you've had each week, but you are to do 2 peer posts. Please make sure that you are responding to a peer and then doing so if you are in the nurse practitioner program or the nurse educator program or the leadership program, you're going to look at it from that perspective. Okay. So you're going to look at it from the perspective program that you are in and provide a substantive post with those scholarly references, and you still have to include those in-text, correlating in-text citations, please. All right, we have our last shadow health focused exam over UTI with antibiotic sensitivity. So please make sure that you are maximizing your points in this assignment and getting the highest score you can on the Student Performance Index, the SPI score, okay? Remember, the SPI score is what we take times 40 to get your point that you will have for the assignment. You have to score a minimum of 75% in order to receive any points. Anything underneath that will receive a 0. Please make sure that you are, if you're repeating or reopening that assignment that you, or that exam, that you are reading the feedback before doing so you can maximize those points. All right, you do have a quiz for week 7. It does have the same instructions and the same time limit as the previous week's quizzes. So please make sure that you are not waiting to the last day to complete that or last minute of the day on Sunday. On week 8, it is a very quick week. It opens on Monday or starts on Monday and it ends on Tuesday before noon at 11:59. So we only have one assignment. Again, we have no content. So there's no synchronous session or content session. You have an initial post only, but I do want to go over this quickly just to make sure that you don't miss easy points, because sometimes students forget to include references and in-text citations. They don't support it with examples. So for this assignment, you are just looking at these four learning objectives. You're going to provide an analysis of how the course supported each of these objectives. So you should be addressing each of these. Oh, let me go back. Each of these and going over that analysis for each objective. And then after doing so, you're going to explain how the material learned in the course based upon those objectives is going to be applicable to your professional application. So please make sure you include that as well as those analysis for each of these objectives. Okay, you're going to provide evidence and examples and use those references and correlating citations in order to support your thoughts, statements, and opinions. There are no peer posts. So again, once you're done with this, you are done with the final reflection. If you look at the rubric, you have the content section, you have the analysis section, you have the writing, and of course you have the APA. If you do not include scholarly references or citations, it drops your points significantly. So please make sure that you do that. All right. All right. I just want to say thank you for all of the hard work that you have done in this course this semester or this term. I hope you all can take a little time between the terms for yourself to do something fun with friends, family, or even by yourself to help refill your cup before you begin the next term. Again, this is our final session, so there is no session for week 8. I look forward to seeing how you all progress in the program. Please do not hesitate to email me with any questions that you might have. I will again send out a final announcement once I am done grading for the term. That way you can look at the grade book to see what your final grade is. Please just make sure you meet those deadlines, because I don't want to have to give out zeros if you miss those deadlines. That week 8 deadline is very tight. Again, our course ends on that Tuesday at 11:59 a.m. Central Standard Time, and then I have to submit grades by Wednesday. So it is very tight turnaround for final grades. So please make sure you have everything done and have a wonderful week. Thank you.